Good morning, everyone, Honorable Chief Guest, Sri Jewel Oramji, Honorable Minister, Tribal Affairs, Mr. A.V. Swami, Honorable Member of Parliament, His Excellency Mr. Harald Sandberg, Ambassador of Sweden to India, Dr. Gupta, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, my congratulations to BPNI, which has undertaken a very long journey, completing 25 years. But if you look at the journey of those great organizations, 25 years is really not a very long journey. It's a very short span of time, because I think the road is very long and very arduous, and the challenges are far too many. So you have to really walk miles before you can afford to sleep, as they said. But something very struck me here, when I was just thinking. So I was thinking that, on a December early morning, it is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gentlemen, no ladies here, speaking to ladies and a few gentlemen there on the virtues of breastfeeding. So that is quite interesting. Nevertheless, this is like, I need not really speak about, as they say, I should not speak to the already initiated, to the already converted, as they say, because you all know much more than I do. So I would not really venture into those areas. All that I would talk about are the challenges that we face, and also what are the possible things that perhaps we all can do. We all know what, breastfeeding is great, and everybody knows. I mean, I'm sure all of you know it, the details of the benefits, which not just the child, but also the mother gets, that you all know. I need not really talk about that. Basically, the newborn has 3 demands. First, food. Second, warmth. And third, security. And the newborn, incidentally, gets all 3 of them in the mother's lap. So what we need to do, obviously we can't speak to the newborn, but the newborn would not really understand what we are speaking. We can't communicate. So all that we need to communicate is to the mother, and perhaps to the father, perhaps to the family, perhaps to the community, perhaps to the government, perhaps to the civil society, and perhaps to the members of parliament and honorable minister, and obviously to the government as well. So that is what we need to do. I was going through some figures. Now in India, as you know, after the National Health Mission was launched in 2005, obviously India has been grappling with a lot of challenges. Some of the very, very bad health indicators like infant mortality rate and things like that. But things have changed actually in the last almost 11 years. I don't know how many of you know that the rate of decline in IMR, MMR, under 5 mortality in India is better, I repeat, is better than the global average. Is better than the global average. But it is still unacceptably high. Our IMR is 39. And I can tell you that perhaps breastfeeding is one of the big instruments in our hand, dependable, reliable instruments in our hand, that we can really fight this successfully. Now, when I was looking at the figures, we found that the institutional delivery has increased from not a very interesting figure to all the way up to almost 80%, almost 79%, 80% institutional delivery. In some states, there is obviously interstate, as they say, subnational disparity. But in some states have done exceedingly well, but on an average you see 80%. But do you know what percentage of babies actually get to have the breastfeeding in the first hour? It is just 45%. So just 45% of the babies get to have the breastfeeding in the first hour of birth. Even if 80% of those babies are taking birth in institutional facilities. Now that's a big challenge. A big challenge to whom? Big challenge to all of us, people who are interested in all this. So we need to really kind of look at that very carefully, what should be done. And the first thing that which has to be done, I guess, is to after all these discussions all through the day today, we need to go out of this room and actually take it all the way to the field. I was just telling Dr. Gupta, unless and until we do that, we actually take this out of this room and go to the field and tell the people for whom it is meant and conscientize everyone so that they really understand it, and all the barriers which are there. There are too many barriers. Barriers of culture, barriers of myth, barriers of, some people saying that no, the first hour you should not do this, for various funny reasons and all that. So these barriers are to be broken. Unless and until we do that, we cannot take it from 45 to at least 80. At least 80. So I think that is why perhaps, Dr. Gupta also alluded to it. We in the ministry, we launched this program called Ma. It's not a program, it actually shows Government of India's commitment to this particular thing. And it was launched in August. I'm sure you must be knowing about it. Mother's Absolute Affection. And we could get a celebrity, Miss Madhuri Dixit Nene, who actually came and spoke about it. Obviously our honorable ministers of state and and experts from UNICEF, all those people are there. And now you'll be happy to know that 10 states have already launched this particular program in their states. And we are trying that every state, every union territory should actually not just launch them, should start the training program of the mothers, and the mothers of the mother, the mother-in-laws of the mother, the husband of the mother, all those stakeholders, and obviously the frontline workers, the ASHA, the ANMs, all of them. Now there are certain times, certain people face problems, so those problems are to be addressed, and that is to be done. Now coming back to IMS Act 2003, as Dr. Gupta pointed out, the act has been enacted. Now what more needs to be done? We'll see many acts have been enacted in this country, but when you actually go and see the implementation, you really don't, that leaves a lot to be desired. You think it should be done much better, much more efficiently. So I guess there also I believe it's a big challenge, and we have to really take the help of non-governmental organizations, NGOs, civil society, all members. And basically this is a big challenge. How to really break, again, that's a huge barrier. So we have to really do a lot of IEC, educating people, conscientizing people, going all the way to the panchayat. Mr. Sandberg alluded to panchayats, and he knows how important panchayats are. We must know, unless and until we go all the way down to the Zilla Parishads, to the panchayat samitis, to the panchayats, to the ward members, to the municipal bodies, tell people, and important role of media. Unless and until all the stakeholders come together, it's going to be a very tough battle ahead. So with those words, I think addressing these barriers, I think we all have to come together so that at least, I always keep saying, that, individual excellence, individual sprint, you must have seen, I don't know how many of you saw the great athlete Usain Bolt winning that 100-meter and 200-meter sprint in the last Olympics. Did you see that? Could you see that? It was coming early in the morning. So I saw that. And the excellence, which kind of is, gets large on the face. I think that's individual excellence is important, is absolutely necessary. But what we really need, not just an individual sprint of excellence, but a long collective marathon. And this is going to be a long, arduous battle. And unless and until we all come together, and I would like to really congratulate Dr. Gupta, because you have becoming a national resource center for this MA program and all that. And I would expect that after today's meeting, you will come up with a detailed program as to how this particular thing has to be disseminated right to the field level. What are the programs that you are going to do? Are you going to do some kind of a regional meetings? Are you going to talk to the IMA? Are you going to talk to the people's representative at various states, in various regions? So those details are to be worked out so that next year when you meet again, maybe in this Constitutional Club of India, you should talk about the constitutional rights of every woman. So that is perhaps something that we need to really look forward to. We need to work together. Thank you very, very much for your patience. Thank you.